don't want to cut some of the lows from the bass or the kick, if you don't want to compromise either or, there's actually another technique that is very, very useful. You will have to do some pocketing to some degree with the kick and the bass just to make them work a little better. But here's another and really, really key technique to make them really work together. It's called sidechaining. If you don't know what sidechaining is, comment below and I'll do a separate video on that. So the basic idea here is you want to sidechain the kick to the bass so that the bass ducks out of the way every time the kick hits. Now there's two ways to go about this. One, you could do sidechain compression and duck the entire level of the bass down every time the kick hits, which I do find a little bit unpleasant personally because I don't want my bass to disappear whenever the kick hits. So an alternative to that is you can use a dynamic EQ with a sidechain. And instead of ducking the entire bass when the kick hits, you can just duck the fundamental frequency of that kick out of the bass every time the kick hits. So as an example, I'll show you that in my session. So how I have this sidechain set up with the kick and the bass is I'll first put a bus on the kick channel. Basically, I'm making a copy of the kick signal that I can send wherever I want. I'll bring that bus up to Unity, call it a day. Then I'll go over to my bass channel. So in this particular session, I'm using a free plugin called TDR Nova. Absolutely insane for a free plugin. It's a dynamic EQ, super clean, really works well for my workflow. So basically I go up to the key input, which is basically your sidechain source. I'll go to bus. I'll pick that bus that I made for the kick, which I called kick sidechain. And then the second step, you'll go over to this menu and you'll click external sidechain so that it's reading the external sidechain, which is the kick. So now that I have those things set up, the kick signal is triggering the dynamic EQ on the bass channel. So the plugin is reacting via the kick signal, but is affecting the bass signal, if that makes sense. So just so I can see visually what the kick is looking like frequency-wise, I'll go to this menu right here. I'll click sidechain, and that's showing me the frequency of the sidechain signal, which is the kick. So when you're looking for a fundamental frequency, it's simply just going to be the frequency that's poking the highest. That's usually the fundamental frequency. So basically I'll move this band over to around that area where I'm seeing the fundamental frequency, and then I'll dial back the threshold, which is acting as a compressor for that particular band. And I'm not going for an exact number of gain reduction, I'm just kind of getting it to where my ear likes it. So after applying that sidechain method, the kick really starts to come through in the low end, and I'm not losing my bass. So it's literally the best of both worlds. I get to have my bass in the low end, I get to have my kick in the low end. But they're not fighting each other, and the bass only ducks out that frequency for only that moment in time that the kick hits, jumps right back. So those are just a couple of techniques I'll go for when I'm trying to get my kick to really cut through a mix. And if you learned something new today, go ahead and follow us for more videos like this.